I stepped on the brakes, and while I was driving, the floor pan went down, and I went with it. It's pretty cool.
Still jamming out to the music.
Just Google offensive T-shirts. There you go.
I was a skinny little punk kid that wasn't having too much luck with the ladies. So
We need to drink now, you guys.
We had grown up watching Lou Santiago. How can we not? How can we not want to be on TV? How are you talking about?
I'm still jamming out to the music.
I am not going to ask about the hat.
We're already in the dumpster. We're what, 4 minutes in?
I think it was a 93 Toyota Corolla. Back when that was my first car when I was 14 years old. I didn't even have a license.
Really?
No lie, maybe 6 months later, I had the whole suspension, motor.
What's your worst TV experience doing Garage Cut?
Do you want me to just come back next week and do another podcast? We ain't got time.
The Puerto Rican guy with a 68 Charger, come on.
I'm just saying. Awesome.
If you've never heard of LaGrange, ZZ Top did a song about LaGrange. So
That's the reason why I know it.
that's right.
I'm not going to worry about it. I know it's in Texas.
So
When you pull into town, the sign says they got a lot of nice girls.
Still jamming out to the music. Boom, shaka-laka-laka. So tonight, we've got one of the OGs in the game. And I don't mean gangbanging. I mean in the car world. The guy, I remember seeing his stuff in magazines when I was in high school, looking at him, hiding the magazine behind the textbook. The dude has been around the block. He travels to more countries, to car shows, than I can even imagine. It's insane. It's just totally insane. I met John D'Agostino in 2004, I believe it was, at the Sacramento Autorama, and he was premiering one of his cars. And dude, he's the consummate lead sled custom guy. I mean, it's all that wrapped into one. And if you love cars, you know his work. And it's just that simple. It's just that simple. We've got him tonight. John D'Agostino. He's at his residence, God knows where, because he's not traveling, because it was a problem getting the dates right to get him in here. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to commercial, and know this, next week we got Joe Zopla. We're going to talk about his race that he had. So we're going to go to commercial. When we come back, me and John are going to talk about some stuff at the auto fair, Charlotte Auto Fair there. That was last weekend. And then we're bringing in John. Hit it, Ryan.
Ever wonder what happened to your favorite Hollywood stars? Some are screen legends. Some made history.
What do you say? Is it the new Bluesmobile or what?
One thing's for sure, they all have more to tell. Road trip with me, Lou Santiago, as I hunt down these iconic cars.
The car's actually stolen. My kids said, Dad, you're not going to believe what's over here.
And take you behind the scenes to get the story behind the story.
I'm going to have the car do the same thing. Pow, bang, wow.
From the designers who built them, the stars that drove them, and the lucky motherfuckers who stumbled across them. Where was his car when you found it? Pull in there. Dude, tell me you have your hands on it. You're not gonna believe some of this stuff.
Dun, dun, dun.
That 58 Chevy was badass. We should have stole it.
I know, right? Dude, you know what? I didn't think to take a picture of it. I did the auto fair this last weekend, and they had the Corvette from Animal House, the red Corvette.
There you go.
But I did take a picture of the card, so I know the museum that has it.
Oh, really?
It's sitting in a museum, yeah.
Tell me about the show you went to.
Dude, it was the Charlotte Auto Fair. It's run by the Hornet's Nest. It's a car club, and it's mostly like stuff in the teens. So, and I don't know if they're letting in any stuff, but it's a lot of old stuff, Model A's, Model T's, that kind of stuff. And the fall show was never really that big. So I think the Charlotte Motor Speedway is coming in and they're going to help shore it up. So they called me on a whim 10 days ago and said, "Hey, will you come in and work it?" So they had me on the Jumbotron all day.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You got to blast that stuff out.
Oh yeah. Well, and I said it last week.
Yeah, but you still got to post it.
I didn't get any of the links or anything. I told them to send them to me and they didn't get them to me. But I think I'm doing the spring, and the spring is a big one. So
right. What about Carlisle?
A little bit, huh?
Have you heard anything about Carlisle?
I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. No one said anything, so I'm going to find out. But if need,
okay.
I'm just going to start planning to run up to you so we can do the Impala.
I'm thinking the week after, the 8th. That Saturday we shoot.
October 8th?
Yeah, I think you get here maybe Wednesday or Thursday. Probably Thursday. Hang out Friday.
Wednesday. It'll be Wednesday because
we got the pod.
I'll be
we
off.
Got the podcast.
What? I can't do the podcast in your house? You don't want to sit next to me? What am I going to smell? What the hell?
I'll put you in the garage. We got a pool and a pond. You'd be good.
We can sit in the pool and do it. What the hell? Why? I won't fart.
That ain't gonna. You know, there's a studio not far from me where Ken does another podcast.
We don't need a damn
10 minutes.
What? You just don't want me to sit next to you. Just say it.
That we could sit next to each other. It's already set up.
Oh, okay.
Because the issue would be sound, the echo through the headphones, the whole thing. We'll figure it out. But I'm thinking the week after Carlisle, come up and we'll map out what we're going to do, and we'll shoot Friday, Saturday, and figure out and do some garage insider shots.
Yeah.
You just got to get. I think. We'll talk about it. There's a lot there.
Well, I don't need to bring up a welding machine. You got a 220 machine, right?
I got 220 MIG, and I just bought a TIG that runs off 110, 220.
All right, so we're good there. I just need to bring up some plate.
Yeah,
and
your shield.
You got do you have a plasma cutter?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're good there.
Yeah.
I got some pipe I can bring up so we can make the notch
for the frame for the exhaust.
Then we just got to plate the bejesus out of it, and then we'll be good there.
For those we're jumping into it, for people that don't know, I'm doing a 64 Impala. Lou's got a 64 SS that's been sitting that he's got to dig out so we can do a side by side and order the same parts, get the same thing going. But
mine's cooler.
Yours is what?
Mine's cooler.
Oh, SS.
Hey, cool. Dude, I'm like old Chinese kung fu movie. Yeah.
Yeah, but you got the red gut, the factory red gut in your car. Bucket seats.
Yeah, and it's a factory AC car.
Yeah, that's money. That dash is worth money. But I got a regular Impala. I'm doing a Cheech and Chong tribute up in smoke. That's it right there.
I noticed your shirt says Dave's not here.
Yeah, it does. You see my shirt?
Can't see it. Ryan still has it. Ryan's got it. There you go.
But we're doing the Cheech and Chong car. I just got the bucket seats. The console, cool. I think I'm going to pick up at Carlisle. That's the LS3. That's before I ripped the thing apart about a week and a half ago. Started filling in all the holes down the side for the old chrome to put the SS on it. Getting rid of the Mickey Thompson rims. Going to put the Kraegers just like in the picture. Things should rock and roll. Thinking Ford 9-inch and the rear 4L80 trans. But I'm also debating whether to put a 5-speed in it. Modern driveline.
Yeah.
Call Bruce.
Yeah.
Got the muff diver plate. There's my dog. But I'm digging out all the stuff for the build to make it look exactly like it. So this thing, I have a kick-ass stereo, and it should move with the 6.2 in it.
Yeah.
It should rock and roll. I got to get it to stop. So
we can do disc brakes on it.
It's got the disc. I need power, and I need power steering because I got the chain wheel, which is 10-inch. Tiny. I'm not going to be able to steer it without power.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got the vintage air the other day. Told you that. That came in. I just got that a couple days ago. So it's here.
I'm going to pull up the steering box on mine. Because, see, in 64, they did a power assist. So you have a manual box. And then down on hitting the center link, there's a cylinder. And that's how they make it power steering. But I'm going to pull it off. I'll pull it off probably tomorrow or Thursday and figure out what steering box I can use on it. And then we can get we'll get a power steering box for it.
They make a rack and pinion setup for it too, for like $1,800, which is steep.
You're the one who's trying not to spend money on this thing. So why are you going to put a rack on it?
Well, if I'm going, the money's going to be in the drivetrain. It's definitely not the body and the paint.
I get that.
I ordered the fur. I told you that.
Yeah.
I got about 1,000 yards of fur coming, so I should be able to make a tuxedo out of it too.
Oh my God.
At least a pair of boxer shorts.
Oh my God. Linda won't know what to do.
I've been like Austin Powers. Yeah, baby.
You can walk in and go, I'm the love machine, baby.
Throw back to the 70s. But I also, side note, did you call Ray back? Right? Today's his birthday. 77.
Oh, I forgot.
For those who don't know, we mention Ray every once in a while. We bust his chops. Ray's a Vietnam vet. Just bought about 3 weeks ago, 65 El Camino. Yeah, 77 years old. He has a GTH, Shelby GTH. He sent off, got a supercharger put on it, the gauge package, loaded up. I think he's got about 3,000 miles on. What are you doing? Texting him?
No. I'm going to call him. I'm going to put him on a speaker.
He's going to curse you to death. He's going to. Don't show his number.
What? Everyone's going to call him now?
I'll call him. Wish him happy birthday. He's probably watching.
He's probably not going to answer. Ray. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Man, you're really fucking old now. I gotta get back to the show. I just hung up on him. He's probably going to head fucker. So anyway.
Oh my God.
Yeah. We I'll call him when I get done with the show.
Yeah.
I'll call him when I get done.
He'll be harassing you.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got John DiAugustino, legend, builder, designer. You know, we got the same taste in cars, fat fendered stuff. What I like was he hitting you back? It's blurry.
He's calling me.
Yeah.
Hey. I'm doing this show right now. Don't you know not to disturb me on Wednesdays? Oh, that's right. You're mad at me and you said you won't watch the show anymore. You're such a girl. I'm going back to work. You're such a girl. I'll call you later. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm going to hold the phone up to the microphone. Say it again. Go ahead.
Can't hear him. Can't hear him, Lou. You got to
They
put him on
can't hear
speaker.
you. They can't hear you. Put some fucking bass in your voice. I'm running away. Later. All right, so let's get back to John. John's probably going, oh, God, what did I get myself into?
Yeah, he's probably like, what the fuck? Yeah, especially with Ray. But you know what? Being a Vietnam vet and all, Ray's a good dude. I talk to him all the time. You know, the fact that he bought a 65 El Camino, I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And he was talking about putting an LS in it. You know, I talk about my car. He talks about his. But yeah, you know, he's been around. But he's the guy, if you remember, that fell off the ladder. I think it was back in November.
Yes.
Busted himself up. So he's back up and doing, but he's not, you know, back to jogging. So, you know, good guy.
Yeah, he tore his back up. He broke in there. Hey, Pop-Tart says, what's up? Tater tot.
Pork chop.
Pork chop.
So like, before we go, because John's got to run out. He's got to run it.
We got to go.
Our time. So we got to get him out. Bring him out. Ryan, bring out John.
Ryan, bring him out. Come on, bring out John. There he is. There he is.
You go.
Hey, Ryan.
Hey guys, who is it? Lou, Ken, Ryan?
No,
Who else?
it's the other guy is John. Ryan is playing director tonight.
Right.
He's the one that's he was the one that was on there before we went on.
Okay.
Yeah. He's the one.
Ken
He's the one who
usually
yell out and
quarterbacks.
brings pictures out and stuff like that.
I'm excited to be on the show. Thanks to you.
Appreciate you coming on.
I'll call you cousin from now on, right?
Yeah.
God, I've known you for almost 20 years.
I know, it's
2004, Sacramento.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
What was that all about? I thought you guys did a show. Was it the Builder Show? What was it?
I went the guy who owns the Grand National Roadster Show and the Sacramento Autorama is John Buck. And he called me up and he said, "Hey, do you want to come out and do the show in 04?" So I went out to the Grand National Roadster Show, and then it was like a month later was the Sacramento Autorama.
Yeah.
So he called me again and said, "Hey, do you want to come out to Sacramento?" I was like, "Yeah," because I had never been to either one of them. And that's where I met John. I met John out there, and I met Oz Welch out there, and I had met Justin Scott's Hot Rods beat in Detroit earlier in the year, and then Justin was there, and then someone else was there. Who was it? There was a big builder. I don't remember. There was another big builder out. Huh?
Was it Brizio? Roy?
Yes, it was.
Yes.
I met Roy brief. I met a brief. Well, with you, because he came up to talk to you real quick. Yeah.
Right.
And you introduced me to him, and then he was moving. He was going. He had to go do something. But yeah. Honestly,
it's funny. He must be watching the show right now. About 30 seconds ago, I got a message, and it says Roy Brizio. I'll bet you he's watching the show.
Dude, you need to get me in touch with him. I'd love to have him on.
Oh, he's cool. I will. I'll make that happen.
Yeah, because he's like you. He's been in the game forever.
He's a great hot rod builder, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's
everybody loves his work.
Well, yeah, he's been doing it forever. he's got a serious portfolio, man. Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely does. John, you sent some pictures over of some of the cars you built. You know what I like most? And I don't know how long it takes you to come up with the names of each one, because it's classic and it matches the car. I mean, you did a tribute to Elvis. I think there was 2.
Yeah,
3 of them actually.
3 total. There was 3 Elvis cars? I didn't know that.
Yeah, 3. One's built in Italy. The last one was built in Italy, Milan.
Oh,
but by the Celebrity Kustoms Italy team.
How cool is that?
Yep. And now it's owned by the Academy of Arts University in San Francisco. So it's on display there. And that car might be coming back. That car was actually built in 2015. It won a lot of the big awards. But I heard it's coming back. The Academy is going to bring it back, and it's going to be at the Sacramento show in 2023. So we're going to get the Italian boys to all come back and reminisce. And here it is 8 years later. It's going to be pretty cool.
If you can remember, get us the information when it's in front of you, when and how and who, just beforehand, and we'll talk about it and put it out there, or maybe even have you back on if there's something
that sounds great
that's local to talk about it, so you can promote it.
Okay,
you know what I mean. But how do you come up with the names of the cars?
It's just that I try to figure out, is it going to be a celebrity type car which has a name to it like Gable and Elvis and Marilyn? Or is it going to be a car like Stardust, the Golden Star? It just depends. Like, I'm doing number 8. Actually, I have Oz building the car, Oz Welch and Oz's Customs, and he's building the Gable 2 car right now. And that's going to be a 41 Cadillac. Well, back in which you see right there. But back in 2004, we built the first Gable, and Oz built that car also, and that was a 41 Packard. So they're both the same year cars, but they're totally going to be a lot different when it comes to styling and everything. But they're both going to be traditional looking customs. And I'm excited to actually see this car being built by Oz, because he's had it for about 6 or 7 years, but he's done other cars for me. So he started on the car, he'd get off the car, but now he's on it full speed. And I would say in the next couple months, the car's going to be out, probably just around SEMA time or shortly after.
John, walk us through this build as to how it started, who's it for, what's the object here, the goal, and tell me about what goes into this.
Well, first off, it was a 41 Cadillac. It was it was a two-door post car, but we wanted to make it look like a convertible, so we ended up using a convertible header bar. And Oz chopped it 5.5 inches, and he built a Carson top for the car. And a Carson top meaning it's going to look like the old days when Carson was around. He built the tops. He's doing it exactly like it was.
Yeah,
that's going to be one of the strong features of the car. But the car also features widened fenders front and rear. We used a 47. We modified a 47 Cadillac grill and put it on the 41, which is a lot of work. But then he used 53 Cadillac headlights. Damn. And that was really a lot of work to make that fit because of the shape of the headlight bezel with the shape of the car itself, the front fenders, they just don't bolt on. So he spent a lot of time on doing those actually 53 Cadillac headlights. We used custom. We used actually a 47 Cadillac front bumper and a rear bumper, and we used the guards. We used a Kaiser override, but Oz actually sectioned it about 9 inches to give it a smaller profile, and then at the ends of the guards itself, he actually custom made these lucite tail lights. So it's going to be really cool. The tail lights are going to be really low to the ground, right on the bumper. It's going to have a great look to it. But like I said, this is going to be a real traditional looking custom.
Yeah. What drivetrain? You going something old school, or what's going on underneath the hood?
Actually, we used a 383 in the car, and we're going to use Cadillac valve covers, and it's a modified engine, definitely a modified engine. It's got over 400 horsepower, but it's going to be a cruiser, and it's going to be all detailed out, all chromed out, custom painted, the whole bit.
Is that a Thunderbird back seat?
Yeah, Thunderbird back seat. Yep.
What color combination you going? What are you going to do?
Well, that's going to be a surprise. We're getting real close to painting the car. Real close. I would say in the next week it's going to be in the booth, according to Oz. Wow.
It looks good. I mean, it looks bad. Did they tilt back the A pillar? From this shot, it does. It looks like it's tilted back.
Yeah, he did. He spent a lot of hours on this car. I mean, 7 years it's been there. I mean, he hasn't worked on it every day, but he's put plenty hours on this car. It's now thousands of hours.
Well, and it's like everything that you do, John. It's heavily customized. You know what I mean? It's everything you do is really worked over. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a car that's been done that's just stock looking. You know what I mean? Everything chopped, sectioned. You know, it's crazy.
Well, I work with a good team of guys. Lately, Oz has been doing my cars for about 20 years, but I've worked with Lucky Seven, Marcos at Lucky Seven. I work with Daryl Hollenbeck. I work with John Aiello, Art Hemsel. Those are just a few of the guys I've worked with. But it's the team behind you is going to make you look good. Yeah. And I've worked with a great team.
Yeah,
John, let's back up. Now that we established who, where, what, and how. Pittsburgh. I'm in Pennsylvania. You grew up in Pittsburgh?
California.
Pittsburgh, California.
Yep, near San Francisco.
So you're a California guy the whole time?
Yep, the whole time.
Oh, John thought you were in Pittsburgh, PA.
No.
I thought you were Pittsburgh, PA.
No. Get rid of the H.
Yeah, there you go. So talk about first getting into the custom game. What was going on and what drove you into the industry?
Well, when I was 15 and 16 years old, Pittsburgh was a town where most of the Italian films, an Italian town, a lot of Italian people here, a lot of the customizers. I mean, guys like Richard Zocchi, Albert Sino, Mike Maffatano, Claude Grillo. These are all the Italian guys. They all have these fancy cars built by Barris and Balon and Winfield. And even DeRosa built a couple cars for these guys. So, by seeing these cars going down the block and going to the cruise-ins, immediately I says, when I'm 16, I'm gonna do my first car. I'm gonna build the first one. And I started way back at 16, and I've been actually over 100 cars I've actually built with good customizers like Oz and all the boys.
Damn.
Wow. What was the first car?
56 Chevy. And it's funny, that's the only Chevy I've ever built. I've never went back to Chevy. I'm usually in the bigger cars. I mean, you got, the Oldsmobiles, the Mercuries, but a lot of luxury cars, the Cadillacs, the Lincolns, the Packards, the Imperials. That's I've been doing a lot of those, probably 30 or 40 luxury cars.
Damn.
How many along over the that time span? How many 4951 Mercs you think you've built, and how many 59 Cadillacs have you put together?
Actually, Mercury's not a lot, only a couple, and both of them were 51 Mercs. But then Cadillacs, I've done. I've worked with some good customizers on. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 59 Cadillacs.
Wow.
Yep, and then a couple 60 Cadillacs, and on and on and on. So, yep, probably on the luxury end of it, I would say Cadillac. I've done more Cadillacs than probably all the other luxury cars.
Right.
When you put something together like that over time, do you track that car and know where it is now, or is it just lost in space?
No, I usually track it. When it's sold, I usually try to find a buyer that I want him to have the car. I just don't sell it to anybody. I choose the buyer. And so I kind of know the history, where the car's at, if it's being shown, if it's going to be in a museum. And I've been pretty fortunate. All my cars have been actually well taken care of. I mean, the cars that are in Germany, the cars that are in Australia. I mean, when I go to these countries, I use these cars as my backdrop. So like I said, all these cars are still in nice shape.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I saw, like Lou was talking earlier about, you travel. How many dates throughout the year are you? How many gigs?
Well, definitely over 30, but half of those are out of the country. Sweden, Finland, Norway, Australia, Estonia, you name it. I've been to almost 400 international shows since 1995. And Sweden was my first show I did back then. And I've been to, it's called Custom Motor Show. And I've been to that show 22 times. The same show. Chip has been there. Barris has been there. Winfield. But I've been there 22 times. And I'm going back in 2023. It's always on Easter. So Easter, I'm always in Sweden.
Man.
I think that's something. We had Gene on the show last year sometime. Cool.
Yeah, he's phenomenal.
Locked him down. Yeah.
I mean, for a guy 95 years old, I mean, he's still showing up at these shows.
Right.
He's doing a pretty good job by actually just showing up, and he's still painting. He just painted a Lincoln Zephyr a couple weeks ago, and he was in the booth painting. I mean, hey, I wish I could actually stand up to Gene. I don't know. He's 95, so I got a few years to go to actually reach him. But if I could stay up with him, I'd be happy.
Yeah, we made fun of him because he has a full head of hair. He's got more hair than Lou and I combined.
I'm telling you, I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing something right.
It's all the paint. It's all the chemicals.
Yeah, probably lack of paint back in the day.
It's preserved it. That's what it is.
Exactly. He must rub that stuff into his hair, and it just keeps it growing.
Exactly.
He's got it figured out. I'll tell you that.
It's crazy. So, Ryan, put up the one like burgundy, the red convertible. Put that one up. The Packard. See if he gets it right. That one. There you go. That's the Gable, right?
That's the one Oz did back in 2004. We debuted at the Grand National, went to Sacramento. Wow. It hit all the shows. I mean, a lot of shows. And then it sold to a few people. Actually, both guys are multi-millionaires. And it just recently sold about 3, 4, 5 months ago to Jerry Logan of Oregon. Jerry owns the Copper Caddy built by Dave Kindig.
Oh, yeah.
And he bought the car, and he just loves the Gable. And it's funny, it did a show in Tulsa while it was in Dallas, because the last owner that had it lived in Dallas, Texas. And so I ended up doing the Tulsa show, the Daryl Starbird show with it.
Yeah.
And I think that was in February or March. And then after that, we shipped the car to back to Oregon, and then we got it ready for the Sacramento Autorama. And luckily, the car won the world's most beautiful custom. I mean, here it is 18 years later, and it wins the big 10-foot trophy.
Man.
And Jerry was really stoked. He was happy as heck, boy. So was I.
Man.
John, if you're comfortable, what's a car like, 4 or 5 months ago, you're saying, what's that car, what did it trade for?
Oh, definitely over $500,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's impressive. All those years later, that it's still
Oh
holding
yeah.
up. It's a piece of
Yeah,
art.
well, it was kept. It was bought in Barrett-Jackson auction years ago, and then it resold to another fellow in Dallas, Texas, a big car collector, and he had it for a number of years. And then Jerry Logan happened to see the car at over in Florida at Mecum Auction. That's when the Hirohata was there in January.
Yep,
I didn't know that the Gable car was going to be sold there. I went for the Hirohata just to hang out and have a good time. And when I was there, they says, hey, actually the day before, they said Gable's going to be on the auction block. So it didn't hit the reserve. It was very close to the reserve, but I called Jerry Logan about it. I said, Jerry, you need to buy this car.
Right.
The car's still looking good after 18 years later. And he struck a deal up with the owner out of Dallas, Texas, and he ended up buying the car. So, and he's been showing it this year. I went to Concours on Rodeo in Beverly Hills in June, and I went to a couple of shows in Oregon. So he's going to show it this year, and then next year, who knows what's going to happen to it, but it'll be in his museum. He's got a beautiful museum in Oregon, over 100 cars, all show cars.
Wow.
And, it's going to live in his museum.
Is it open to the public, the museum?
No, it's not. No, it's a private museum, but they give tours there. They give tours to actually people that are really into the cars. If they really want to see it, you just contact the Jerry Logan organization and they'll set up a tour for you.
That's
pretty
what we
cool.
gotta do, right, John?
Huh?
You know what we gotta do, right?
That's it. If you guys want to go, I'll set it up.
John, talk about, you did an interview that I was listening to a couple of days ago where you talked about the rough times through the 70s, where the hobby faded out and what it took to get through it. There's two things I want to hit on. Your relationship with Barris, the people that you looked up to, and making it through the 70s, the hard times when things were spun around. What was that like? Share that with people.
I mean, it was, back in the early 70s, custom cars are basically done. I mean, nobody really looked up to the custom car. It did its phase in the 50s and 60s. And then when it hit around, I would say right around, 68, 69, 70, it started to actually go downhill till about 76 when the Cool 50 came out and when I was building my Midnight Sensation 51 Merc. But for about 7 or 8 years, things were bad. But, I used to go see George Barrett at his shop over in North Hollywood, and I got to be very close to George back in the early 70s, all the way until he passed. I mean, we've done I bet you I've done over 100 shows with George all over the world. And I tell you one thing, he was a type of guy that people just loved him. He had a lot of drive when it comes to custom cars. He had a lot of knowledge, and he just always wanted to talk about custom car, movie cars. And I had, he went to Sweden with me 3 different times, and we had a great time there. We went to Finland together. But he was just a remarkable guy. I really miss him. And I happened to be at SEMA when he passed on. And it was really a letdown. It was really, and I had to do a TV show for Barry Maguire and actually Car Crazy. And that was, it was me, and it was Winfield. It was Linda Vaughn, and it was Barry Maguire. And there was one other person with us. And that was a very sad time. I mean, here we just heard about it a few hours earlier, and now we're up on a stage talking about George, and it was hard.
Yeah.
I met George at his shop in Hollywood. He told a great story. I actually filmed an entire interview with him, and he says, "What do you want to know?" He starts out, Joji's introduced us. I sent pictures, the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "What do you want to know?" I said, "Start from the beginning." So once I got him talking, he explained pretty much his whole life story. I got it on tape. But the things that he told, a great story. And he talked about burning his garage down, his girlfriend's garage.
Right.
He talked about stealing the knobs off his parents' kitchen cabinets to put in the grill of a car. And he explained.
Yeah.
Back then, you didn't have, the access to the things that you have access now. So you had to make good and do with what you had. I mean, Gene Winfield talked about that too, starting out at his mother's chicken coop.
Right.
He worked out. Yeah. But it was great story after story after story. And I tell you, everybody went home, shop closed. It was dark by the time we got done talking. Just hours and hours. But what amazed me too is he had records and photos of everything that he did. He had the James Dean car there, the Batmobile, the Monstermobile was in his place. It was, I mean,
he had a file cabinet second to none. You go in that back room, he had Elvis Presley, he had Michael Jackson, he had the Hirohata Merc. I mean, he had so many photos, literally hundreds of thousands of photos, and they were all categorized in alphabetical order. I mean, he was very well organized.
He was the king. He was the king.
With that. But I tell you, one of the highlights I'll never forget, this was 2011 Custom Motor Show in Sweden. They had the Legends of Customs, and there was Barris, Winfield, Starbird, and myself. And that's the only time the Hirohata Merc left the country to go to a show international, and that was Sweden. That weekend was remarkable. I mean, we were all there signing autographs. People lined up by the hundreds. We're giving these posters out, but to have 4 cars there, it was just something that I'll never forget.
Yeah.
I mean, here it is 11 years ago, and I can still remember like it was yesterday.
Yeah. The me being at a shop, same thing. It was just, I was like a kid in a candy store, and he's like, listen, you need these photos. You need this, you need this. He just a great guy. I think he had his grandson following up behind him. I guess it was Joji's kid.
Jared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what came. They just sold that shop, what, year and a half, 2 years ago?
Not even. A little less than that. Yeah, they put up for sale, and it sold right away. I don't know what they're going to do with it, who's moving in there, but that
should be a museum.
That's a historical place.
Right.
I would have loved to see it stay the way it was.
Right.
Historical, but Joji wanted to move it to Oxnard area, and they're gonna. I think they already have the building. They just got to get everything together and put all the memorabilia back in there and sort of work out of there. But I'm sure it's going to end up okay. I mean, it's the memorabilia. When you walk into a place, it's all the photos and all the on the walls. That's what you want to see. Some of the cars, movie cars, all the memorabilia. So I'm sure she'll do a good job. Even though I hated to see it leave North Hollywood because that's the real McCoy. That's the real thing. But it is what it is. It'll be fine.
Lou, what we should do is take some of those clips from George and have Joji speak to it.
Yeah,
have her on the show.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because the lock down the history. Because of course, we can't have George, but he told me a story about Sinatra coming in and wanting his windows tinted. He said Sinatra wanted his windows so dark nobody could see in and see that it was him because he wanted to drive around. And Barris says, he goes, listen, that's not what you think it is. You're not going to be able to see. So Sinatra says, I don't care. Make it the way it is. He said he came back the next day. He goes, I almost ran into shit. He goes, you got to get this off here. I couldn't see my way home at night. And he told the whole story. I mean, from him to hear, of Sinatra coming running back in going, you're right. I can't even drive the car at nighttime. Fix it. It was just a funny detail.
Boy, he's got the stories. I mean, George had so many stories. I mean, all these movie stars he worked with, Elvis and on and on and on. I mean, when I used to go to a shop and look at those walls, I can't believe one guy organized all that. I mean, he's done so much in all those years. Right. I mean, I don't know anybody that'll ever top him. I really don't.
No, it's impossible.
But he had a good team behind him. He had Dick Dean. He helped him out a lot on a lot of the movie cars, and he had, guys in the shop that he hired. And so he was a good organizer. He was a great promoter.
Well, and Dick Dean was a car builder in his own right.
Oh yeah.
I mean, dude, he was a hell of a builder in his own right. So
Dick Dean worked very close to George Barris. They did a lot of stuff together. When George needed help, he'd go to Dick Dean, and Dick Dean would knock these cars out, a lot of these movie cars and all that. Yeah. So you got to take your hat off to Dick Dean also, even though George was the guy leading the pack, but Dick Dean was, the hands-on guy. Yeah. But then George in his early days did some hands-on work too. But then he didn't have to. He had his brother. He had his brother, Sam. Sam was the middle guy. He's the guy that did most of the work. Then they hired a couple other people to help Sam out. So George did all the promotions, all the stuff that he didn't have to, work hands-on anymore. Right. And he did a great job.
John, outside of Dick Dean and George, who were your influences early days?
Oh, Winfield, Bill Hines, Larry Watson, Joe Balon, Cushenberry, Bill Cushenberry, without a doubt. Then in my area, one of the guys that he built a few cars for people and himself, and he was one of the NorCal Kings was Frank DeRosa. I mean, he did he was one of our favorite guys because he's local, he's from Pittsburgh, and he started his shop back in '49, and then he worked on that for a number of years, and he got into another trade for a few years, but then he went right back to the cars. So he was knocking cars out. So, he was an innovator. He did things his way. He didn't copy anybody. He wanted things very different, and he did things very different. I mean, if you look at the Sharkmobile, that '60 Cadillac, that thing was wild. The way he did it, the way he sculptured it, the grill treatment, the fins in the back, and on and on. But he built a lot of cars. He done well for himself. But it's hard to you're in Northern Cal, but really Southern Cal was the hotbed. That's where the movie stars were at. So if you wanted to get a movie star, have a car, built by a movie star, they would go to somebody like George Barris or Joe Balon. He was in North Hollywood for a few years. So Balon got a little play off that. But George definitely he was the king of all the movie cars by far.
Yeah. So hey Ryan, put up the black car with the girl in the bikini. Put that one up. Oh yeah, not the black car, the one with the there you go.
Yeah. So that's a 40 Mercolt Stardust. That car debuted at the Oakland Roadster Show in 1988, and that car that photo was taken by a guy named Ed Monahan. He was the ISCA photographer, and that was on a calendar. Every year they used to pick 5 cars to go on the calendar for the big car, big deals. And then they pick a lot of small shots from other cars, but that made the calendar. Actually, almost every one of my cars for a number of years made the ISCA calendars.
Yeah.
But that was a cool picture. That was taken in, if I remember right, San Jose, California.
Okay.
What happened to the girl? Where's the girl at?
She was one of the playmates, that's for sure.
Hey.
Oh yeah. Oh no,
John, what does it matter? That car would get you all the girls.
Her name is Casey Winkler. Casey, she was very popular on doing the ISCA calendars every year. They used to use her a lot, and then they used to use a lot of playmates. Regular playmates of the year or whatever. I've done several with actually playmates also, but she was one of my favorites. She was really, 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 really beautiful. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you remember the name. I can't remember.
Casey Winkler. Name. It's been years. Like I said, almost 40 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What other cars do we have, Ryan? What's wrong? Ryan.
Did we go through all the
we haven't gone through any.
That's the Rita Hayworth Tribute Packard. That's one of the last Packards to come off the assembly line in 1958. But it's funny, it's actually registered as a 59 Packard. So maybe it was sold in 59, but I was told after I sent the VIN number to Detroit that if it wasn't the last Packard, it was one of the last Packards ever built. And I had Oz, actually, he started that car the year of 2000, and we finished that car in, that car was finished actually years ago, back around 2015 or 16. So that car was shelved for many years, and I built many cars after, that took the place of that car. But finally, in 2017, I told Oz we got to debut in 2017 for sure. So I stopped giving him cars to build other cars, and he focused on that, and he got the car done. But that car's major. That's a 2-seater, extended tail fins, 56 Oldsmobile headlights, bullet-style grille, sectioned suicide doors, 5-inch shop. I mean, a lot of work in that car, and I still own it today.
What hood's that from, and what is that, a Cadillac windshield?
No, that's actually the stock windshield, but it was cut down 5 inches.
Okay.
Yeah, that was really a tough one to do because of the curve, the wraparound.
Yeah.
But it turned out great. And that picture is taken at the Concours on Rodeo in 2017. When I had it there, I had 2 cars there. I had that one, and I had a 68 Buick Riviera called the Pantheon. That car was actually at the same show on Rodeo Drive.
Is it
That's
the one
pretty cool,
behind
huh?
it? Is it
Yeah,
really
one behind it.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. And they both lived at the Peterson Museum for a while, and they were on display. And the Buick Riviera ended up going to Japan. Actually, in 2019, we brought it there, and it did a show called the Moon Eyes Ronnie Custom Show. And then we shipped it all the way there, and then we shipped it back, and it stayed at the Peterson a while. And that was really a cool car. And Oz built that one also. That was all chopped. It was all done in House of Color paints, the whole bit.
I want to go to the Moon Eyes show. I heard
Excellent
that's a
show.
Really good show.
It's definitely the best one-day show you'll ever go to. But, they say it's a one-day show, but we stayed there 4 full days, between setup day and the party day and the after party. It's a one-day show, but to me, it's 4 days of nonstop fun.
Yeah, yeah. And the Japanese have some cars, man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they build some really nice stuff in their own right. Plus, they find cars that are relevant in the States that like the Riviera, and they buy them. So they got
it's a great show to go to. It's always the first week of December. So hopefully I could go back this year. Last year they didn't have because of COVID, but this year they're supposed to have it again. But they say it's going to be scaled down somewhat because of the travel restrictions and all that.
Right.
But I'm going to try to make that show.
It's a good show. Yeah. Yeah.
John, how often are your cars paid for and consigned in advance, and how many are you building to your taste and then sell? How's that process work?
Well, I just basically do one at a time. Sometimes I might get 2 cars at one time. I'll build 2, but my goal is to try to build 1 car a year. And then I show that car on the West Coast, East Coast. Then I ship it to actually Europe or Australia. So I usually get 3 or 4 years out of a car.
Yeah.
And then while that's being shown, I got another car ready to come out. So I try to stay, one after another.
So you're building it for yourself to your own taste, or the other clients? Okay.
Yep. I build it for myself. I want to do it that way, but a lot of them are actually pre-sold even before they're even finished. But then I still show them under my name, and then they're sold, and then I start off and I build another one, and that's the way I've been doing it for years and years. And Oz has been really good at actually getting these cars done. I mean, sometimes things don't happen the way they should. They're supposed to be done in a certain date. They don't make it, but usually every year I come out with a car.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Listen,
So John has like a shield, like they used to have back in the day, and it says D'Agostino on it.
Yeah.
On all of his cars, he puts it on.
Yeah, it's like a crown with the world below it, because I travel so much around the world, and it's a pretty cool badge. It really is.
Yeah, it's neat, and it's not that big. It's like what, 2 inches tall, 3 inches tall.
About 2 1/4 inches, give or take, and but it fits. It looks great on the fender. I got them in silver, actually chrome, and I got them in gold, depending on the color of the car.
Yeah, yeah, they're neat. Maybe we'll get some from him when we see him. We'll go out to California. We'll pop it off.
He's not going to hand out.
I'll take care of you, Cousin Lou. I'll take care of you.
Pop it off the car.
Hey, cousin John, right? Cousin Ken and cousin Ryan. How's that?
John, I got a question. You look like you're 60 years old, and you're talking you were building shit in the 60s and 70s. How old are you?
That's one thing you'll never. Well, I'll never disclose it. My close friends know how old I am.
Yeah.
A lot of people ask me that, and I says,
F off.
No, old enough and young enough. Don't worry.
I mean, you look good. You're holding it together. It doesn't match up. That's why I asked.
Yeah. Put it this way. I'll just say 60s. How's that?
Okay.
He's holding it better than us.
Lou was 75.
It could be early 60s, mid 60s, late 60s, but or it could be early 70s, maybe, if you really, but I won't say any more.
If you juggle the numbers right, you can make it work.
Right. Yeah.
If you do some Hollywood accounting, it can work.
Lou, cousin Lou, you gotta get together with me. We got to do some international shows.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the shows I do, they draw several hundreds of thousands of people. Several 200,000, 300,000, especially Germany.
I can't crack that show circuit. I mean, I've tried to get the indoor shows in the States, and
yeah,
I mean, I can't crack that show circuit.
They can't get a hold of you. That's why.
Yeah, that's probably why. Yeah. Luckily, Sonax Car Care, it's a German car care company. I was doing a show in Oklahoma. No, I was in Finland. That's right. And they had the car that I built on TV, Car Warriors. It was a 71 Oldsmobile Cutlass.
Yeah.
And somebody bought that car and they wanted me to do the show with them in Finland. And that's how I met the Sonax Car Care people. They had their booth kitty corner to me. And that was about 7 or 8 years ago. And luckily through them, they've helped me get a lot of international shows. I mean, a lot. I've been doing.
I can't crack that nut, man. I have tried. I cannot.
Really?
You got to answer your phone, Lou.
No, I mean, honestly, that's not it, because
you got to return phone calls.
I've talked to some of the people, and they're like, "Well, we don't know who you are." And I tell them, I tell them what I do and all that, and they just don't. They don't know who I am, because I'm not known. I guess I'm just not known to the promoters. Like all the car guys know me, but the promoters don't.
Right.
It's a common name. Once they see your face, your laugh, the whole thing, then they get it.
Then
when I'm talking to people, it's the same thing.
Because like Cruising the Coast, a friend of mine got me hooked up with the guy who does Cruising the Coast, and I called him, and he's like, "Nah, I just don't know who you are." That's like, dude, you can look me up. I'm in.
Look at YouTube. Look at everything.
You'll see what I do. He's like, "Nah, never mind." He just wasn't interested. So the hell with it. Don't worry about it. But
something's going to happen soon, and all of a sudden you're going to start doing so many shows. Everybody will know you around the world. Put it that way.
It's funny because I was at SEMA it was, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago. These guys in Brazil recognized me, and another year at SEMA, these guys from the Middle East recognized me. I mean, car guys know who I am.
Right.
It's the promoters who don't know, and why I don't know. It's just the way it is.
Well, hey, once you get on and you start doing a couple shows, then you meet other promoters from different countries, and that's how I stared. And now I've been doing, like it says, hundreds and hundreds of international shows. It's just because I've been doing shows. I've been to so many different countries. I mean, countries you never even would think. I mean, Estonia. Who would think Estonia has car shows?
Never guessed Estonia.
I mean, Estonia borders Russia. It's right there. It's only 5 miles away as the Russian border. And I've been there 4 different times. Called American Beauty Car Show. Cool show. It's an outdoor show, but man, it's a great show. I need to go back there in 2023. That's my goal. I got to go back to Estonia.
John, 2 questions.
Go ahead.
If you were to redo anything from the past over again, what would you change? And second, if you're going to give advice to a young guy coming up trying to follow in your footsteps, what do you got to say about it?
Well, I wouldn't really change anything. I would just follow what I've been doing. I've been very fortunate. I would just keep, and then, the young guy that really wants to get started is got to attend shows. You got to read the magazines. You got to stay focused and just live the dream. If you like cars, stay with it, whatever era it is. If it's an American car, if it's a tuner, I call it styling cars. I mean, I even tell the people in Germany when I started going there 8 years ago, I go in there. I don't think I saw 4 or 5 American cars in the whole show. They were mostly all styling cars, tuning cars. Then I used to tell these people, I used to give the awards out there, the Crystal Award. And I say, listen, there's nothing wrong with having a styling car, but you got to have an American car. You got to have a 50s car, a 60s car, whatever era you like. But now a lot of these guys, they have styling cars and they have American cars.
Yeah.
Now I go to these shows and there's literally dozens and dozens and dozens of American cars at these shows in Germany. Now you go to Sweden or you go to Finland, mostly everything's American there.
Yeah, they're
probably
big
90% of the cars there are all American cars. But Germany is starting to step up now. They're starting to really get into the American cars.
Yeah. Well, dude, nobody built cars like the American cars. You know what I mean? Like you look at the cars in Spain and you look at the cars in Italy. They with the exception of the Jags, there was really not a lot in like the American cars. They don't exist outside of America. It seems like no one was building them but here.
Right. But little by little, everybody around the world, they want American cars.
Oh yeah.
All these countries, they want American cars, American iron.
Yeah, yeah. It's so
John,
funny.
you're in Cali. They're talking electric. What's it, 2030, 35?
2035.
What do you think is going to happen?
God, I can't see how it could really happen full electric. I just can't see the grid handling that much electricity. I just can't see it. I don't think it'll ever go full. I think that the gas car will always be around. I really do. Even though they say, no, they're going to, not in our lifetime, put it that way. It's not going to go full electric. No.
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
I'm not. Yeah, I agree with the grid, because they need to update that first before they're shutting people's power down because of the AC.
Right.
And then you got the blackouts and all. The other concern that I have, or what I thinking is, if you live in an apartment building in a city, how are you going to charge a car, and how are you going to keep people from unplugging and plugging their car in?
Yeah.
I mean, back in the 70s, they used to, siphon gas out of the car when it went over $1 a gallon. Then they had locking caps that they came out. And was, oh, you got a lock-in gas cap because you didn't want people stealing your gas.
Yeah.
I mean, remember? And even like the 55, 56 Chevy, you had a plug underneath the tank. You could drain it out. They did away with that. But what's going to, I guess they have to lock it in somehow. But what do you run a cord out to the street? If you have an apartment?
I can't see it really happening. I don't care what they say that they want to, in the next 10 years or so, but no, it's going to take so many years to make this happen. I mean, many, many years. So no, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. It's not
going to be 100% electric cars.
Yeah. And even then electric is coal fired. I mean, that's coal powered car. That's where it's coming from. I mean, in some places you got wind and you got water. Overall, especially on the East Coast, it's cold.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, whatever. We can go on and on about
All right.
that.
So, look, John's got to get hopping here. It's 56 minutes. We're 56 minutes in. John's got to get hopping. So, Ryan, put up the picture of John's merch so we can tell everybody where he's going to be and when he's going. All right, John, tell us, first of all, where's this at?
That was last week in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I was doing a show called Cinderella Nights. It was the finale, the last show of the year, and I flew into there and I did that show. It was a really good show. Over 200 cars actually appeared there, and actually I'm getting ready to do another show in Oregon on the 28th of this month, a one-day show, and that's going to be a finale also. And they get about 2,000 cars over in Portland, Oregon, at the Raceway. So, no, I did this show. It was really I really enjoyed myself there, and I'm looking forward to actually going back next year. They do actually 20 shows a year, every Tuesday for a number of months. They do it. So 20, and the old promoter actually got out of it, and there's a new promoter who's going to be taking over starting next year. And she wants me to start doing her show. So I told her I could do 2 a year, your first one and your last one.
Yeah.
So I'll be doing the first and the last Coeur d'Alene show next year for sure.
So where can everybody reach you at? If they want to check, give us all your handles.
I would go into my webpage, www.celebritykustoms with the K, all one word, .com. They could go into there, see a link, and they could see where I'm going. Or you could go on Facebook under John DiAugustino. You'll see a lot what I do there. Or you could go into Celebrity Kustoms / John DiAugustino. That's where you'll see all my postings, where I'm going, where I've been, and what's coming up in the future.
Cool.
And then I got JD Custom with the K, all one word. That's my Instagram. You could go into there and see it. So I got several pages.
I write that down, JD Custom.
Busy guy. Busy.
Yeah.
We appreciate you coming on.
Oh, it's great. It's a pleasure to be on the show. It really is.
I appreciate it. Lou
I'm
appreciates
glad you answered my call.
So
John,
listen, hopefully, are you going to be at SEMA?
That's what I was just going to ask you.
I don't know yet. I don't know. I just don't know.
Well, you got about a little over a month and a half. So I'm actually scheduled. I'm going to be with Sonax Car Care in their booth signing, and also I'm going to be with Quarter Mile Foundation. Joe Rutka, remember Mr. Gasket? His niece runs a deal called Quarter Mile Foundation.
Okay.
And Kenny Youngblood is going to be in the booth signing autographs and doing all his artistic work and all that. So,
cool.
So I'll be sharing those two booths, and I might do one more booth, but for sure I'll do both of those booths.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll be there all 4 days, November 1st to November 4th, Tuesday
I'll
through
let you
Friday.
know. I'll let you know if I'm going.
Let me know. Let me know. We'll hook up for sure.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I just got to figure it out. I just don't know yet.
Okay.
So go from there. Well, look, I know you got to run, so go do what you got to do.
Well, listen, it was great being on the show. I really enjoyed myself,
Thanks,
and hopefully we'll get some people looking into the show, and hopefully I'll be on once again.
Yeah, we'll have
another
it
time.
back. Yeah, when you want to promote, you're doing maybe just before SEMA or one of the shows.
Yeah, one of the shows. We'll do something.
Appreciate it.
Cool. All right, John.
All right,
appreciate
guys.
you coming on.
All right, take care. Take
Later.
care, and hope to see everybody soon.
Oh yeah.
Thanks.
Later, man.
All right, later.
Brian. So let's make this happen. So I think that was great. John he's got some serious cars, crazy cars.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. And he does tail draggers like you like. So you gotta like that.
I like the fat fenders. The 51 Merc out of 49, 50, 51. 51 is the one I built 2 of those. So
dude, and that caddy that Oz is building is insane.
It's badass, isn't it? It squats down. It looks like it's
dude.
Awesome.
That's why I got to get Oz on. Because I know he builds some cool stuff. He doesn't just build for John. He's built a lot of stuff that's cool. I think it was a yellow car, yellow or orange, and it was a tail dragger in Sacramento. When I met him, I was like, dude, just cool, Like I appreciate those cars, but I'm not going to build one.
Yeah,
just because it's not what I do.
Yeah.
But man, I was like, I'd build one. You look at the car and go,
I want to run it. No, I know. There was something you and I were talking about that I wanted to clarify. The Spotify, and we'll get into this a little further next week when Joe's on. We'll probably talk about it a little bit. But they pulled down John Schneider's episode off of YouTube.
Yes.
And what is it? 1 more or 2 more infractions and we're done.
If we get another infraction, we're off for a week.
Oh, for a week.
You can't put nothing up for a week. And then if it happens again, I think they try to squash the whole thing.
They bring it down.
But they tell you in the appeal, in the appeal process, it says it says, usually, how do they put it? You can appeal, but more than likely you're not going to win.
Yeah, it's kind
So
of
they're already saying you're guilty.
Of course, they got their opinion.
Right.
You got no say.
Yeah.
But anyhow, if they do pull us down, and a lot of guys are watching us on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on Google, we're on Apple, but Spotify usually takes us, it's not live. It's not like you see it here now.
It's usually the next day.
Yeah, but Spotify has never kicked anything back, hasn't cut us down, never sent us anything saying you're bad guys. We don't like the words you're using. But my concern is a year later, pulling John Schneider.
Yeah.
Because somebody watched it and complained of something we said.
And I even put that in my appeal. I put down, I'm not responsible for someone else's opinions. I'm not responsible for that.
Right. It should be freedom of speech. Let them run.
Well, yeah. But they're not going to do that. And they just came out and said, I guess in the Durham investigation, some stuff came out, that went down, and they even said that he's got proof. Where did I see it? Someone was reading it, and they basically knew that the FBI and the government was talking about, we're going to have them censor everything, and these people like Twitter and YouTube, they're going to do it for us, that kind of deal.
Yeah,
so these people are totally out of their minds. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the end of the world as we know it, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyhow, if you guys, we get lost, we get chopped from YouTube, and you're watching YouTube, go to Spotify. And Spotify, to be clear, you don't have to pay for it. You can listen to the commercials and get free Spotify, just like the other services, or you can actually, pay and there's no commercials.
Yeah.
I got an account. I don't pay for anything. But
I got to get an account. I don't have a Spotify account.
Yes, but we're audio and video, and you can listen to that as you're going to work. You're coming home. You're on the train. You're driving. Bring it up on your car, whatever you got to do. But I just want to tell you that we're working on other details. We're working on a 0 to 60 streaming service, so we have a backup plan to be able to post everything on there, knowing that we control it. But that's part of our concern is the freedom of speech. We control it, and we able to get the word out or talk freely.
Yeah, because I don't want to get shut down because we're speaking.
Did you ever think in America this would be happening? You have to watch what you say. You're going to insult somebody. Their feelings are going to get hurt and shit like that. That we have to go. Oh. I mean, you and I have talked about subject matter. And go, well, should we and shouldn't we? We shouldn't even be having that conversation.
We should.
We should just let it rip. Really. Yeah. You want to drop the F-bomb or say this or whatever, we should be able to say it.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't want to go too long on it. I just want to say there's options, and we're working on making it accessible where we control it.
Well, cool. All right. Well, dude, I'll see you later.
Money's on the dresser. I'll talk to you, Lou. Later. See ya.
All right, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show. John's a cool dude, man, and he's got some really neat cars that he builds. Next week we got Joe Zopler, and we're going to talk about his deal. He had his drag race the other day, the Builders Brawl. He had that. It was I think like a month ago now, and he's going to give us the lowdown on that, and we don't even know where the conversation is going to go after that. But I can tell you this, Wally Elder had his Daytona out, and Joe had his Daytona out. Wait, I think they're both Superbirds. They may not be Daytonas, but two tube chassis big wing cars running down the track. It's got to be cool. So we'll see that, and we're gonna find out what's going on in his world. Until next time, I'm Lou Santiago. Keep it between the lines. Later.